skipped on the
Okay.
top. They could just get put it back in numerical order.
This is up to date, including payables and the payroll that's being paid.
The bottom number. We killed the shrubbery.
And you're all set?
What would you like?
Yes, thanks. Yeah, and you got payroll too? Okay. Who wants these?
Well, I was looking at that earlier. I really would like to look at it before we... Okay, 1 second. Okay, we will open this meeting of December 22nd, 2014. Let the records show that all are present except Selectman what's his name?
The other guy. Oh, what's his name? Albert.
He's on vacation for the week. Okay, so getting right down to business, we have Tim with a couple of things.
He's been busy. Timmy's been very busy.
Yep. All right. So first things first, I printed out the current expenditure report, which shows where we are as of this afternoon, right now, including the payroll that was run today, that'll be paid Wednesday, as well as all the payables that you see
Yep.
that are circulating. Now, it's not everything for the year, but it gives you an idea where we are. And we are 96% spent for the year. So we do have some availability of budget, and the largest is on page 3. Police Department, PD salaries, officer wages. I anticipate that we would be safe with encumbrances in the $30,000 to $40,000 range, even taking into account the remaining week that we have to process for any kind of payroll issues going into the PD.
Chief, were there any things that you could not purchase that you planned on purchasing this year because of the high legal line? Ammunition, anything?
Well, the only thing that we usually have to encumber at the end of the year is ammunition, because it's such a long wait.
What does that usually cost, average?
In the $1,700 range.
Yeah, I think the most we ever spent was about $4,000 when, during the war years, where we were buying in bulk.
They're always a year behind in their delivery, so it kind of throws us off, but that's the only thing I can think of.
Thanks very much.
Just ammunition.
Ammunition?
For qualifications.
So you could order that tomorrow? How does anyone feel about
Yep.
authorizing him to do that?
Yep,
To buy
absolutely.
bullets?
Yeah.
I think they need them.
Well, I know, but
Well, we
like
can
I said,
take off
his
now.
legal line was so overspent that we were searching for monies in it. and-
Right.
No, I understand that. But if
That's a
they need
necessary
bullets, they
purchase.
should buy the bullets.
I think we should take it off, whatever we can buy now, take it off
Yeah.
now.
Was there
rather than-
anything else, or?
Anything else you can think of that was necessary? Not one else.
Yeah, no.
No bling.
Just taking off the ammunition would be a huge help. So getting that qualification ammo would be huge, so that would be the only thing.
That means your
Also-
budget could go down for next year, right? Because you budgeted that ammo.
Well, the way it's working...
not gonna go
is
down
they're
for
always
next
a
year
year
because
behind,
you didn't
so
buy it
the
this
order
year.
Stuff I order now, believe it or not, Joe won't see it for a year. But eventually it translates into a savings, because...
This is stuff that he hasn't purchased this year, that he should have purchased,
Yeah,
but didn't because of the legal line.
that would be the only thing.
Well, there's also almost $1,000 in the pistol range expense line. Is
Was
that-
there anything that you put off on the uniforms that you didn't get because of the legal line was overexpended?
A little bit uniform, and probably $600 600 uniform.
So can you get the 600 this year with what we didn't get because of the legal line?
Those will be the two places that I can think of that we held on.
Are we okay with that?
I am.
Yes.
Say, go forward and purchase
This is the
those two
stuff
items.
that they didn't get, that,
Right, that's what
How is it that we buy ammunition? If we're gonna spend $1,700 on ammunition, do we put it out competitively? We buy it all the time from the same people?
No, we get the state bid price. We
State bid?
3 dealers between Mass and New Hampshire that compete for the state bid. And so we shop the best price between the 3 of them.
And that's cheaper than walking into Riley's?
Actually, Riley's gets the state bid sometimes. And what happens is they might get the state bid on handgun, but not on rifle. So
What about-
AAA and Mass.
what was the other thing other than,
But it is the lowest bidder out.
It is, and Riley
I have a
gets the
list,
state bid on rifle.
you do?
Right here.
You have to split
Do
it.
I have that?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
on the only, so I have a list of the anticipated encumbrances, some of which we have right now and some of which we're waiting on the final documentation. But you can see there's currently 6 items there. I was anticipating having some billing in from the software and services that we did over at the PD recently, but it didn't come in time for this payables today, but it should be in for next week, and then I'll know what we need to encumber for software.
You need to encumber the difference between what you paid for the door and the labor for the
Software?
at the senior center. Because it was not to exceed 1,600. We paid for the door.
Oh, you know what we
You need to
forgot?
encumber that
Okay.
portion of it. What?
We were gonna have our front doors done this year. Guess we're not.
If you can find someone to do it and get a contract from them, we could do it this year. It's getting someone to do that and do it the right way.
And it has to go out for bid, because it's well in excess of $500.
It's, Joe, in this kind of a circumstance, you have to find the right, you find someone to do the job.
Granted, but we're still gonna bid it, right?
We don't always bid everything.
You can't, I don't,
Over $500, I'd like to see it go out.
well, what I'm saying is, Joe, how can you bid something when you don't know who does it? You know what I'm saying? It's not like lights or construction or anything. This is a specialty kind of a job where there's only a few in the state that do it.
Well, then those are the ones we send it to. I'm not, I just want to make sure.
I agree with you, but
Yep.
you've really got to search to find who's going to do it and do it right.
So be it.
You know what, maybe if you talk with the people up on 132?
Doubleday?
No. He's the one that built the doors.
I mean, there's Lapelli up on Zion Hill.
Yeah, there's a guy in Northfield that does stripping and what have you.
Oh, the new people? I know what you mean, yeah.
American Woodworkers. They may have the know-how and the knowledge to do that. The other one would be Kim, but I don't think he would take the door off and refinish it. Kim Doubleday, out of Boscawen. I tried to get Billy Doubleday to give us a price on the door for the senior center. It's been 4 months now, he still hasn't responded back to me. I've called him 4 times, I gave up.
Yeah, it's important, whoever does it, that you take them off, because if you don't sand and seal the bottom, that's where the water is, soaks it up into the door, and pushes the
Well, the
finish
other
off.
problem is the trim around the doors has to be done as well.
Right.
They're not gonna be taking that off.
But it
So
could-
it's like I could call the prison, we could have Public Works take them off, and I guess they could do the trim. I don't know.
Not with the polyurethane, no. I mean, that's just going to sit on
We
the
wouldn't
door.
even want to do it during the winter anyway.
Right. So I really do think it might have to be but let's figure that for a next year project, and let me do some digging on the door to find out who would do refinishing.
I don't, hey Joyce, Is that in the budget for town hall repairs?
The doors, next,
Yes,
It was one of the projects that we had proposed to include.
for
put it in every year.
2015, right?
Yes, it is in 2000.
remember putting
Okay.
it in.
Okay, good.
All
Put
right,
it in every year.
okay. All right,
It's a very popular
It's
one.
like a master plan.
so we already encumbered the mango already, right?
Right, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we,
In fact, they're there, aren't they? Are they up or not?
no, not yet, no.
Okay.
Still got to sign off on that. The, also the tasers, that's 9,000. That's also going to be paid out of 2014, which, have you taken delivery yet of the tasers? Okay, so, but we placed the order, correct? All right. I gotta make sure.
So
what I-
tasers in the difference of the, what was?
Senior center door.
Senior center, what was that, like 400, 300 or something, 400?
The only thing I think I have is the actual quote for the...
door.
The material. I
Yeah,
don't
and
think I ever saw...
What was that, how much was that?
That was $11.98 or something.
And we
like
said
that.
not to exceed 1,600, so the difference is the labor.
The board? Okay, all
The
right,
motion was not to,
okay,
so we have to encumber the difference of that for the labor.
okay.
It probably come in cheaper than that, but,
And as I mentioned, I think we're still trying to hunt down some of the other paperwork, because ideally what I'd like to have is either a purchase order, a quote, or something that we've signed, that the board signed, encumbering these monies,
Has
because,
to be an obligation to pay.
right,
It's
because,
either going to be an estimated contract, it can't just be, we can't just sign this and go here and encumber this.
well, no, but, that's what I'm saying, is that I'd like to have, all this paperwork put together so that we have a packet of encumbrances, because what happens then in the 2015 budget, those monies are then added to those budget lines where we're expecting to expend, or into an encumbrance line where we, handle those items, so.
okay.
Other than that, I have some information here on the two options of our emergency call notification system, and we've been able to get, if you turn to the second page, we've been able to get Everbridge, which is our current vendor, down in terms of price, down to just under $3,500 per year. So Everbridge is really the premier emergency call notification system out there. It handles all the complexities of knowing which type of contact to make for which type of person based on a whole set of, if-then-else sort of statements. It goes through and it determines, this person wants to be contacted by cell phone. When it's these types of notifications, this other person wants to be contacted by email and cell phone, but doesn't want to be called. So there are all these sorts of things that people that opt in can set up that, I'm interested in notifications on these things, and they might not select all of them. It has a portal where people can maintain their own information, and it's very comprehensive and also complex system. Currently, besides the chief, I'm the only one that's really trained and up on the system, and there's quite a bit that you have to go through this training. They even have an online university for Everbridge. It's a fantastic system. The call accounting, everything is very good. You can do it from a cell phone even. You can draw a circle around a neighborhood. It has a lot of features to it. But John had asked me to list out which contacts we made this year using the system. So I listed them out here, starting in February, from a snow removal contact, which must have been a very limited set of downtown, just on a certain area of Main Street. And of course, when you pick a geographic location, it is only capturing those contacts that it knows are in that area. And so I've listed those out, what those contacts were, and then underneath, I also listed the types of contacts. This is where we got our database. So 727 of them came from the white pages, and 317 came from yellow pages. 141 were opt-ins, meaning they went to the website, they created a profile, they entered their cell phone, they entered their email or what have you, and then 32 are employees. So of the 1,217 contacts, the vast majority, over 1,000, are going to be very aged at some point in time because white page information, white pages and yellow pages, that stuff changes, fairly frequently. So that's what our database is, 1,217 contacts. You see the number of contacts we've made in those campaigns. But we have unlimited access with Everbridge. We can use it far more than what we're using it for now. It can be used for polling. It can be used for conference calling. It can be used for setting up, contacting 3 or 4 people and connecting them on a call. There's a number of things you can do with it beyond just emergency contact management. It could even go down for the PD through a list of officers and request from cell phone, are you interested in a detail on this date and time? And if the first one says no, then it'll go to the next one. And so it'll follow kind of a logic. It's not a perfect kind of thing where it's going to do it all for them, but it does go through and it lets them know who's interested and who's not. So that's what that does. The other one I have on here, Call 'em All, is a much simpler system, a very basic system. It places calls. It doesn't email. And the pricing is based primarily on the number of contacts. So a 30-second voice contact is 7.5 cents, and it's half price for a text. But you can't run a campaign that includes both calls and texts. It's either one or the other, or you run 2 back-to-back. So for the people that want to be called, you send out this one, and for the people that want to be text, you send out that one right after it. It's a very simple system. It can be learned in about 30 minutes. And I have done an export from Everbridge of all our data so that if we ever do want to change, we've got the data to use. The reason why I bring this up now is that we're at the expiration point of the Everbridge contract, and we either have to renew starting 1/1 or make other plans. The way the Call 'em All works is it's the credits never expire that you purchase, and you just buy more as you need them. Or you can be on a monthly, but I think we would actually spend less money if we were going to go that route.
If we stayed with Everbridge, would it be more beneficial that we get one from Town Hall and one from PD go to the training, and then as a backup?
It's online. Yes, I would, absolutely. I would recommend that regardless.
We could get a designated Everbridge alert person from PD that's like the captain, and then we could have Joyce learn Everbridge.
I have to say, I see the merits of both. The simplicity of the Call 'em All is great, but it may not have the redundancy and the backup and all the other technical aspects of Everbridge. Everbridge seems to be very reliable. I haven't tested Call 'em All enough. I did send a few tests because they give you some, promotional credits just to try. But it's something that would be very easy to maintain. You can create groups and that sort of thing. You can't geotag them though. But you could, if you identify people as being on Main Street or being east of 93 or west of 93.
It sounds like Everbridge is the better of the program.
But for the 7 times that we used Everbridge, 7 times?
We just got it.
Well,
We've had it since February 2014.
well, we actually got it in October of 13, but we used it first in
That's not-
December of 13.
A little less than a year.
Okay, so we've only used it 7 times this year. That's a lot of money.
Well, we could use it many more times.
How
I mean,
much would that have cost? Yes, but we didn't. That's, I mean,
well-
we didn't. I
well,
mean, you
that's-
can use the thing as much as you want to use it, but is it necessary?
Well, I estimated, based on the 4,443 contacts we had, we would have paid roughly $333 with Call 'em
Well, there it
All.
is, call 'em all, I see it.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
But, I mean,
So-
that depends on how many people get texts versus calls, and...
Well, yeah, but still,
It
that's a
is,
huge difference.
it
It's a
is a-
screaming difference.
it is a system used by the Red Cross. It's used by, a number of other large...
How many people, how
Organizations.
many towns and cities use Call 'em All?
I don't know. There's a smattering of about 8 different vendors that range all the way from monthly, annually, to per incidence. I have no idea if another town or city is using Call 'em All, but I did see a number of organizations that, in looking at technical blogs and just seeing, who people were recommending, what they liked, what they didn't like. And
Is
Everbridge always came out, top, as in, the premier
Because
solution.
it's it's $3,000 more than the other system. Is it worth $3,000 more, and why, if so?
Well, one of the things that the chief has pointed out is that with Everbridge, you can send out a picture with a text. And with Call 'em All, you can send out the text. I
And
don't
the
believe...
School Street robber guy was
So,
caught by
right.
that procedure, correct?
Procedure, right.
Yeah, it's actually two-way. People can send us a picture of a robbery suspect that they just witnessed and grabbed a picture with their phone, and vice versa. If we go to the Shop Express or LeChance Market, we take that picture off their video system. We're pushing it out right away through Everbridge. With this system, we couldn't. I send it to MUR, but it's not going to get up with them until the next news cycle. So if it's a 9 o'clock robbery, they're not going to get it up until...
And we can't do that with Call 'em All.
I don't believe so. In fact, that robbery on School Street, the first one that went out was to let people know, there was a problem there. And then the second was to send out the picture and ask for people's help in IDing the person. But I'd have to, I guess, I'd have to find out if there was a way to. I'm not, now that I think about it, I'm not sure that I'm correct in saying you cannot send out a picture with Call 'em All, but I think that is one of the, I know email is one of the distinctions.
We don't do email, and it's either or on the text or calls.
Right.
We have to do calls because how many people don't have cell phones?
Right.
If it's just one,
Yeah.
then we disenfranchise that one person.
It's not a perfect system, though. I had someone complain about, in fact, an employee complain about getting a notification, what they thought was late, regarding the shelter opening at Thanksgiving, and because they thought, well, what good does this do when, I didn't have phone service, and then I got the notification, and so they wanted to know when it was sent, and when I told them when it was sent, it was close to when they checked, so, but they thought, well, that didn't work at all for them. So, I mean, it's not a perfect process,
Well, the
The chief
email,
has something to say. Wait, hold on a second.
The other thing, too, is like if there was a person with dementia or Alzheimer's or a small child that went missing, same thing, we can push that picture out right away. And the system is so smart that when it sends out a message, it'll tell Tim who actually, if they got an answering machine or a person answered.
Yep.
Or if they didn't get the message at all. So if we were doing like a tornado or hurricane was going to come into the Silver Lake area and we push out a message, we can print up a list of who actually physically picked up the phone and answered it, or what houses do we need to go to because they didn't, it went to an answering machine or they didn't pick up at all. And then that kind of saves us the time of having to go to everybody.
Yeah, that does, they do have something very similar with the Call 'em All, but it's not as comprehensive a system. I mean, it's a much more basic system. It's meant to push out a message, contact employees. They do polling. I think there's a feature list attached, which shows, the types of things that they do.
Yeah. John, You had something?
Yeah, the email would only go to the people that are opt-in, right?
Right,
Unless- yeah.
and employees, right. So
So-
it's not that many.
Yeah, that's not...
And what some other people do is, what some other companies do is, they maintain a distribution list for things like that, and they just blast it out. So, it would mean sending out something, possibly 3 different ways, which isn't a huge problem. I have to say, I would not underestimate the learning curve of Everbridge. It is incredibly complex. I spent off and on maybe 20 hours over, I don't know, what was it, 4 weeks, maybe, working on their university and going through the thing. It's just incredibly deep. It's used by huge organizations, and it's a wonderful system, but there's a lot to it. You just can't think, gee, I'm just going to sit down and send something out. It just doesn't, it's not that simple. You really have to be familiar with it and be prepared
Do
to,
it.
yeah.
So you've got type of contacts. So are we contacting a total of 1,217 entities?
We have the capability to.
Mike?
It
Okay,
depends.
but we have a population of over 3,000. Can we contact 3,000 if they all opt in?
If they all opted in, sure, yeah.
So how many people do we actually right now have the capability of? 173?
Well, plus the white pages, so
So that's not even, we're not even,
No, but if you think
That's
about,
not a fraction.
if you think about our population, what's the average household, 2.5 people?
well, I left out
or-
over 600 people.
Well, but I mean,
But
this,
even so, even if you go, this is like a quarter.
The other side of that is, too, there's a lot of people that don't know that existed.
Well, that was
Because
where I
during
was
the-
going,
yeah.
is how do we increase?
Right.
I mean, if we're gonna stay with Everbridge, for me, I want all the bang for my buck.
Because I can tell you that during the storm and after the storm and the power outage at the senior center, just talking with a lot of those people, number one, some of them have email, but they don't all have email, and so we tried to explain to them that they could get the alert by the telephone, but no power, you're not going to get it by telephone unless you had a cell phone. But they weren't, the bottom line was, they weren't aware of it. People running the senior center, or, even down at New Franklin Apartments, they had no idea that there was an alert system. So it's not really out there. We've only been, probably really using it for about 9 months, a little over 9 months.
well, the first,
February.
the first big news thing that triggered it was that the footsteps in the snow last year in December. And that alert went out, and somebody said, "Oh yeah, I saw somebody walking through here," because it was kind of beyond the alert, for something, and that led to an immediate arrest, and that was written up in the Manchester Union Leader, wasn't it? And
I remember that.
So is
there
there
was
some type of
publicity.
application we can have in front of Town Hall at the clerk's office, so when people are registering dogs and
Cars.
Letting them
business,
know that we have
Here,
Everbridge.
if you want to sign in for this, that it would be self-explanatory?
as long as we could put up, I'm sure we could put something up downstairs. Yep,
Chief.
the town clerk's a little funny about having things on her counter, but
The other thing,
Dark
too,
counter.
and I think they mentioned this, is some cities and towns set up a table at voting. I could have the Explorers man a table with
That too.
flyers, so everyone coming in, they...
Town meeting?
Explorers could say, good morning, do you have alert Tilton?
Yep,
Do you have a minute so I can explain to you what it is?
exactly, yeah. That'd be
Anything
good.
we can do, if we're gonna spend over $4,000 for this thing.
well, no,
Maybe
3,500.
$3,495.
And that's, let me tell you, that's a negotiated price.
I would recommend that we
Nice job.
stay with Everbridge for another year, and then during the year, look at different options, and perhaps with the contingency that we get 2 other people trained so that all of the posting is not relied upon on you. That
In one basket.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
That's one basket I don't care to be in.
But that would need to begin, the training would need to begin soon so that it's a hands-on, ready to jump in by February. So, I mean, that would be my preference. I'd make that in the form of a motion if you'd like.
Second.
What is the motion exactly?
The motion is to stay with Everbridge and train
At least 2 other people.
an officer at the PD and town administrator for backup on the alert system by February.
Second.
Oh, Catherine seconded it.
Third.
Third.
You know where this is going. Okay, then.
Any more discussion?
Yeah, I was trying to express that we only have 141 opt-in, 32 employees. All your major notifications are, the best way to get them is if people have cell phones. We have a lot more than 141 cell phones in town. That's how we're going to get the pictures instantly. That's how the wires, if the wires in town are down, people are going to get them most instantly on cell phone.
The only thing I got on my
In
cell phone is this
100
real annoying voice. It tells me over and over again that the power is out and the center is
141,
open. No pictures.
well, we have that option, but
My
141
phone
is...
doesn't do that. A lot of people.
I think we can reach a lot more, John, though, than 141.
Will they do a 6-month?
They will not, yeah,
Because I can tell you, if out of how many residents we have, and you figure how many cell phones, because many families would have 3, 4 cell phones in their family, 141 is...
You'd have to opt in on a cell phone, but the white pages is going to call your house.
Opt in on a, you can opt in on any kind of phone.
I understand
On
that.
a computer. Why
I understand that, but that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is
What I'm trying to express is that the 727 you get because that just comes with it. Nobody chose that. Only 141 people actually went and said, yeah, I want this.
But they're calling the 727 because it's in the white pages.
And how many of the 727 would have called in if they weren't getting it already with being included in the white pages?
Not like they don't call those numbers.
Right, I mean, I would be one if I weren't already called.
I'm opted in, but, because I want it on my cell phone. But we can go to the town meeting and we can go to the elections and have somebody there and tell the people that this exists specifically, and you can put your cell phone number into the system right here and right now.
Can they sign up besides online?
They can come in and do it.
They could
Yeah.
fill out a sheet of paper and I or someone else could enter it.
Right.
I think that would
Has
be...
anybody ever done that?
I have, yeah, I've done it for people.
I think that's the biggest thing. I went to sign up online to opt in on it, and there were like a couple quirk things that threw me out of there a couple times, and I just said, I'll go back to it later, and I never did. But that's all I...
All right, all those, any more discussion? All those in favor of the motion?
Yes?
Aye.
Aye.
All right,
I will have the contract for you to sign this next week. It is their standard contract that we signed before. It has space for one signature. Would the
Got it.
board wish to...
We should have said that before I voted aye. You know I
Board
hate
wish
that.
to designate someone to sign that?
No, make 5 spaces. We'll sign all over the
I'm sure we
page.
can
we'll
fit them in.
just say, we'll all sign on the page somewhere.
We'll sign all over it.
All right. So then, I mentioned the fact that I will have some type of technology encumbrances next week, once I have the final billing. But otherwise, I just have that other item number 2 to discuss with you.
Okay, the number 3, let's go back to the encumbrances. The impound lot, where did you, Catherine, did you get the estimate of?
I've
that?
talked to him as early as today. He'll get it to me this afternoon, but to get the concrete price of it. So I'll
Oh, I
have it for
thought
next
this
week.
was the concrete price of it.
$6,300 is a concrete price.
Okay.
For the concrete?
That's not the full price?
For the full price, it's for the full price, but that person is no longer in the area for now. So I thought I'd go with somebody that I could actually talk to and look at it and get another opinion. So he will have it for next Monday.
All right, so we hold off on that one to see if we can
Yeah.
encumber.
But is that approximately the right ballpark?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did my own estimate of concrete, and that
Okay.
should be pretty close.
And that
Okay.
also includes the fencing?
No, the
Fencing is,
Benson is
Fencing
donated
is
by...
donated,
Yeah.
okay.
The
Okay.
encumbrances?
Quickly as you gave it to me, I lost it.
What's that?
Doesn't matter, his sheet.
Do you want this one?
Oh, my sheet?
There was an encumbrance that we discussed with Dennis. Did we forget the tires?
No, we told him to go
thought-
ahead and go out and
Just
purchase them.
Purchase them, no
Right.
encumbrance.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be an encumbrance, he would go out and purchase them, and they would already be paid for in 2014.
Order or anything.
Right.
Right.
The same way
It's like
with,
if that tree work can get
The
done
ammo.
before January 1st, it's not an encumbrance.
right.
And same thing with the ammo and the uniforms, right?
Yeah, order them tomorrow.
Right. All right, did you want to talk about tree work, or is that under something else?
Nope, we can talk about it. I had a conversation with Dennis this morning. He's concerned about getting that tree work done as soon as possible. When the person and nobody's been contacted about these bids. The person we chose last week, Thursday, to do the bid was weeks out because of the storm. The other person thought that they could get a crew in there ASAP. So I told Dennis I'd bring it back to the selectmen to see if they would authorize him to contact the two entities that were so close in price, and basically whoever could get there first, because there are hangers up in those trees that, we're having a storm on Wednesday with high winds, and I'm just concerned.
I know the gentleman that lives next to the cemetery is very, very concerned.
Yeah, they're worried, so
yes.
What's the difference in,
$50.
oh,
Yeah. Well, I still had to bring it to the
Okay,
board,
yep.
if
Yes,
that's all right.
yes.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm in favor of that.
I am feeling
Okay.
too.
All right, then I'll let Dennis know that of those two entities. I told him I'd call him tonight because he's going to contact him as soon as tomorrow, even though he's off, just to get somebody in there ASAP.
So do you expect that work would be done this year, or?
Like, that
Started?
work could be
This week.
done
This week, we hope.
Tomorrow.
Okay, good. Okay, so that
Could
wouldn't
be.
be an encumbrance then, okay.
Oh.
And look, those things need to come down.
Yeah, well, there are two that are very dangerous. In fact, I'm going to go call him right now.
All right, at this time, I would like to make a motion to go into non-public per RSA 91A:3, contract negotiations.
Second?
Yes.
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 I'd like to make a motion to seal the minutes of the non-public session as they pertain to contract negotiations.
Until they become...
Until the
Permanently.
matter
The
resolved.
negotiations are not public. The results are public, right?
The negotiations are public once they become
Once the
final,
right,
once the contract is signed.
once the negotiation is final.
Forget what I said. Until such time as the contract is finalized.
Second.
All those in favor?
Me?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Okay, we have, Chief, why don't you come up? We have a few complaints, not just one, right? There's a few complaints from
Well,
residents.
we have one that's very legitimate. We have complaints about the others, but one I know in particular, that car's been on Main Street all night long for months and should have been towed.
There's a truck that seems to move down the line every few days.
It
And it's-
roams around the parking
It
lot.
roams around the parking lot. Sometimes it has a plate on it, sometimes it doesn't.
Is it a maroon truck?
Yep.
Yeah, it's got 60-day plates that expire in January. It's from Belmont. Basically,
So,
we
did
told
he
him,
look at it today?
yeah, we told him, get it out of there.
Why is it from Belmont?
It's still out there.
Yeah, I don't know. It shouldn't be now. gone when
It
we
was
get
out there, unless you told him after I called Ryan.
Should be,
Did you
yeah.
talk to him after I called Ryan?
And I talked to the other guy too. And I tell people, it's hard to, we don't want to cite and tow people, but obviously we have to. And if people call me and make a compelling argument with some exception, we'll take a look at it and consider it. But I know I've been in touch with the midnight shift all week and probably some of last week about this. They've been really going door to door up and down the tree streets and trying to educate people, and they were doing warnings. And now, from what I'm told, everyone's been warned, and if they're out there, they're going to be towed if they're in violation of either the emergency parking ban, the winter parking ban, or the town ordinance. But I had a nice talk with the guy that called here today, really nice gentleman. And I think in some cases, they're not getting the information from that landlord, and they're just a little confused, I think. He didn't realize that he could park in Lot A, and so I said, you absolutely can. And on the sheet that, when they get their sticker, we give them a sheet, and I know when I show it to you, you'll remember it, but it actually,
Yeah.
it kind of
Shows the parking lot,
Yeah.
right.
And it says, where do I park in it? And it outlines that. This sheet here,
Yeah.
and it says, where do I park? And it explains that you can park in any municipal lot as long as you're in the last row. And I think he was just confused about it.
So he lives in the apartments close by,
Yeah.
and he cannot park against the wall up there, against the railroad tracks, because they're all full?
He said sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. He said this one particular time it wasn't, so he didn't realize that Lot A was also a place he could park. He said from going forward, if he can't find a spot in that last row, he's gonna park in Lot A. I explained to him that he could really park in the back row of any municipal lot, even on the other side of the street. And so, he understands now, and he's picked up his car. The truck that's out there, like I said, it's got a plate to expire in January. I'm not quite sure. They're working on that, but I want it out. If they're playing the space game where they move it around, that's not going to work for us either.
It doesn't have it doesn't have a sticker on it for
There's no
overnight.
parking placard on
So
it.
so he gets cited, towed, and, it's one of those things where if he's moving it around and he's kind of somehow circumvented the system, it didn't work today. So, but
So what do we do about the fact that we're giving out more permits than we have overnight parking spaces for?
Is that
Because
true?
according to this, the only place that they can be residents and guest residents. Lot A, B, and C, back row only. And of course, Lot C is ours, so that's not really the back row, because we park in the back row, so it's the front row. And there's only a few spaces there. And then it's B and C. So those would fill up. We do have more apartment dwellers than we do have spaces.
How many permits did we give out, Catherine?
I didn't ask Ryan that when I talked to him.
Or how many actual parking spots are for those permits? Because if we've given out more permits than we have parking spots, we need to address that.
Well, that's what Ryan told me today, the captain,
yeah.
that they give out more. And he said, well, maybe there's apartments being built in buildings and we don't know about them, but that's not so.
I doubt
No,
that.
that's not so.
Because
Seriously.
it's like I just
But-
inspected 267. They have 3 more apartments to rent, and they've only rented 2.
Right, I think that if you take a look at the apartments downtown, and then you take a look at all of the spaces, we counted out 60-some-odd spaces that we had, and there was no... Available, and there was no way that that was going to take over, given the apartment complexes downtown and the school street here. address it, we counted it up when we made the
For overnight.
ordinances.
Now, I'm talking overnight.
Overnight, that's what we...
67 overnight spaces.
We have the back lot of A, the back lot of B, there's...
And C for
19.
overnight.
C, D, and A.
C is,
Not B.
the back of the fire station is 19 spaces
There's no spaces behind the fire station, would be to the,
on either side.
on either side.
That's what I meant, either side. So,
And A is network managers. Nobody's going to park over network managers overnight and then have to either traverse over the railroad tracks,
Or walk down the
or
sidewalk.
walk, well, and then walk all the way across to here just to go home at night.
you still have to,
Handicapped, elderly, disabled, mothers with babies and little children and groceries? That's a little
Catherine,
unfair.
You made a statement that we put out more stickers than we have spaces.
That is
I would
what-
like to know what the difference is so
Captain
we can
Martin
address
said.
it.
do you put out difference between overnight and regular stickers?
We don't have overnight stickers.
You don't?
Resident or a merchant?
No, a resident.
Because for some people, they might work at night and
Right.
sleep during the day, so...
Yeah, but a resident sticker allows them
There's
to
no way-
park overnight
I
in that
don't think
lot.
I don't think how you could,
I don't have an overnight sticker.
I don't,
Resident stickers allow them to park overnight in
Right.
that lot.
but I do not believe that you can accurately count residential, that we're actually giving out more than what we have spaces for, because you have people that, there's 3 in this building here that work all night and have residential stickers for the day. So, just in this building here. There's another one here on School Street that we granted that works all night and comes back in the morning.
How can we find out if there's a disparity in the amount of stickers versus the parking spaces?
Somebody will have to count the apartment spaces we have
No.
in the parking area.
Just the parking spaces versus the stickers we've given out, first off.
Well, you could do that, go count the parking spaces. But the problem is you don't just have residents using those spaces, you have residents' guests. So let's say I've got an apartment down there, and I've got my twin cousins coming in from wherever, and they don't work at all. And they have a car.
Right.
And they get to park it overnight over in Park Lot C against the railroad tracks. And it sits there for 3 or 4 months. That's okay, because they bought a placard and they're just visiting.
If they've got a placard,
So, you see,
Visitors want to expire, they wouldn't,
pardon?
the visitor ones, they couldn't leave it there for 3 months.
Well, then they become a resident.
They would
They
have to
move in,
become a resident.
whatever the
Like a
scenario.
regular
But the
sticker.
point is, you don't just have to be working. All you have to do is have a resident placard, whatever. And we've never allowed for one apartment, 2 vehicles.
they can't get a second sticker if they have a second vehicle.
Of course they can,
Well, there you go.
but
Most of them, though,
where are you gonna park?
yeah, that's
Against the
That's
back of the
rare.
parking lot.
that
Or
there's,
If you're lucky.
Part A.
that's rare that there's an apartment
We have a
with 2.
finite amount of
vehicles.
spaces.
Most of them do not have vehicles.
You know, the fact is, we have a policy, no parking on Main Street overnight. Why not?
That I don't know.
Why not? If you have somebody who works all day, and they park on Main Street, and forget about snow season for right now, they get up in the morning and they leave before the stores open, why not?
Street sweeping?
Yeah, plus we had people that work at night and they sleep during the day, and they were leaving their vehicles out there all day long. So, and when I looked into it, they
Yeah,
weren't-
but I said at night, not during the day. I said they leave the morning.
Yeah, but that they would park out there, so they, or they're sick the next day.
So they
they're not
don't
moving
park
their
on Main
vehicles.
Street because they can't. It gives them an option of now parking in the parking lot during the day, or whatever. You can be creative. I'm just saying, we don't give enough wiggle room to be creative for people, like this fellow who got caught in the trap.
Yeah,
And it does seem like a trap.
we, If for some reason they can't find a space, and they call us, we'll help, we'll make arrangements, and we certainly could relax that last row up and give them another row if we...
I think that the police officers need to make that a regular part of their duty every night when a new officer comes on the night shift, that the first thing that they do, other than if there's trouble out there, but take a ride down there, check every car that's there, make sure that there's stickers on it. You'll find that there aren't stickers on them. Those are the ones that need to be towed and get out of there so that people can legitimately park there.
I don't think we should be towing people with placards from that
I'm
parking lot.
not saying, I said without placards.
I know, I'm adding to you.
But we have,
They should be talked to.
it's not a foolproof system. I mean, it's not, when we've run into difficulties before, and we've resolved them, and we've worked with the police department, and we've got to resolve on many occasions. But right now, folks know that they're lax in parking enforcement, and we have merchants parking all down Main Street all day long, and they don't really care. The merchants, you walk down and you could see every one of them all parked on Main Street. It's hard to get a parking space now just to get down and have a cup of coffee because they're just all parked on one side of the road. So that's during the day. I mean, there's a number of them. And then sometimes you can't even park a vehicle on parts of it because there's flags flying in you. So
Off on the businesses?
the parking is always going to be contentious downtown, but the main reason why we did that was to free up Main Street so people could come down and shop locally. And somehow or other, it's working most of the time, but it's not in the winter months here, because there was a couple of weeks when the highway called and asked for help, and he didn't get help, and then last week when we said, tow him, now you're towing, and now you're getting the wrong guys that you're towing. So unfortunately, this guy got
Was the
caught
guy
right in the middle.
illegally parked?
He had a placard?
He had a placard.
And there was no room for him to park in the back row. So he parked, because he called, as he said, he called town. He wasn't sure if he called town hall, the PD. I told him, I could make that differentiation. And he was told that the overflow parking was beside the fire station, so that's where he parked.
And those
But
kind of-
unfortunately, according to our regulations, that's not for resident parking.
Then we should address that regulation. Whatever the ordinance says, I say enforce it. And if the ordinance needs to be changed, we change it.
Yes, but it's not so much the ordinance. If
Did
we're
you take
giving
care of
out
the
more
gentleman?
resident placards than they
Yes,
have
we
to
are.
park in, there's something wrong there.
If we are.
He's all set.
Or at least be aware that we're giving out more placards than there are parking spaces in the back row.
We should only have
And
so many,
say-
right?
Okay, you know what? We've got to allow overnight parking in other places.
Now, there's overflow in the other spot, right? Over where the old post office is, right? And nobody's using that? If they can't find a spot
Well-
where it is?
If you live over here, where are we? In the church. If you live in this apartment building, would you want to go over and park over here at 1 o'clock in the morning with a couple little kids to walk all the way over to here?
Well, I don't have my kids at 1 o'clock in the morning. Add a
Depends
lot
on where
to
you're
it.
coming
But
from.
I can't say, after living in Boston,
Or if you're
downtown for
handicapped.
quite a while.
If you're
When
elderly.
you rent an apartment in a downtown area, you realize that there's certain things that go with it. And if we do our part to tow the cars that should not be in these people's spots, there should be enough. And it's okay to issue a certain percentage of those spots due to, like Pat said, people have different jobs. But sometimes you have to walk. That is part of the downtown thing. I think the landlords should post this inside their doorways of all these buildings or something.
Well, one certain landlord promised to build parking for their tenants only.
Oh.
That was about 5 years ago. That never happened.
Is that
They're still working on it.
in a dirt area out there?
He's still working on it. It's gonna cost a lot of money to do what he wants to do to that building.
We're talking about the
I
parking,
think
not
if-
the
Oh,
building.
my.
Mike,
Drainage, asphalt, the planning board was very specific.
I think if we do our part, and, we're just starting this to enforce it, and if we do our part and tow the cars that do not have the stickers properly displayed or on there, that will free up the spots, and if some of the people are going to get caught being towed because of their own negligence of getting the sticker, and I would hope that if somebody runs into a problem, they could just, and they can't find a spot, contact the police department, say, hey, I'm stuck or whatever, these circumstances, and or even, leave a note on the dashboard, say, hey, here's my phone number, I couldn't find the spot, and I'm sure before you towed it, somebody would see.
Yeah, we'll definitely work with people. It has helped. He commented that we called him because he's got a sticker to move his car after plowing, and he thought that was good.
Yeah.
So it does help us, because before we couldn't get phone numbers for people, and that made it hard. So now we can just reference.
Oh, from the sticker number, yeah, that's great. It's a tough one, but...
I don't want to
Right.
see anybody get towed, but
Right.
whatever the ordinance is, we should enforce it.
Thank you, Chief, appreciate it. In the FYI is Fire Commissioners meeting, RFP bid opening on December 23rd at 5:30. I don't know what the RFP is for. There's a budget committee for Tilton Northfield Fire and EMS at December 29th at 7 PM, Northfield Town Hall. And a Fire Commissioners budget work session Wednesday, December 30th at 5:30, Northfield Town Hall. We also have a little note on somebody that, on Caleb Hill Road, that paid their taxes. Crazy amount of dollars for bad roads. For Caleb Hill Road. So
State
just,
road. It's a state road.
yep,
I traveled that road today. There was some comment about the state had done work on it.
yep.
They shimmed it. They shimmed it. They didn't do the ledge work, they didn't do the drainage work. It looked like there was one place they may have replaced a culvert, but I didn't actually get out of the car to see it. But it runs across the road, but foot by foot's got to be the worst road in town. And that's saying something with some of those state roads.
I totally agree with you.
It's bad
minute-
now, and I can only imagine what's going to look like in February, March.
Yep.
The minute we entered that agreement, it's not 1/3, it's 2/3, but the state aid road project, they went, well, we're not going to spend any money on this road, because,
Because we're going to rebuild it.
yeah.
Even though that woman from the DOT assured us, oh yeah, we could take this down, and we could do that.
Yep.
She blew smoke up, well, never mind about that, but I have to assume she had the best intent when she said it, but it turned out to be a lie.
Well, yeah, of course, she was from district, and the agreement was at the state, she may not have realized.
Right.
Is the state liable for any damages to car if they're reported?
You can
that
file a
you can-
report of insufficiency,
Insufficiency of the road?
RSA
I don't remember
28078.
that. And if it's, a certain number of reports are filed
Don't
and they
hold your
don't do it.
breath.
Yeah.
Before, I have experience with this. Before Silver Lake Road was repaired, there was a chasm over there by the daycare place.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord, they fixed up pretty well because it hadn't recurred, but, and I blew a tire, bent the rim and everything else. I filled out the notice of deficiency. I'm still waiting for the check. There was nothing. They got just like, yeah, okay, well, if you knew it was there, how come you didn't slow down? Well, it was because it was filled in, it was a lake, basically, that covered both sides of the road, and I
You don't
thought I
see it.
was in a spot where ordinarily there was pavement, but that had dropped in as well, so I wasn't going but 15 miles an hour and went, bam! It didn't work out very well for me, I don't know. They can certainly fill out the applications.
I think it would be better if they just ripped up the pavement and graded it.
Yeah.
I've seen better dirt roads.
Oh, gosh, yes. They get muddy in the summer, in the spring, but that dries right out.
Joyce, you ready for us? Yeah. All right.
Of course, we'd have to buy a grader. Mm-hmm. Those things are spendy.
Yeah, you should read section 230:78, it's pretty entertaining.
Meaning, it's there, but they don't do it.
Well, it has to be impassable. Or there has to be something wrong that you can't go around.
So may I ask a question of Joyce before we get started? Madam Chair?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I have a stack here of abatements. I think I have the reason why I should sign them. Would you please explain, once and for all, in language even I can understand, why I need to sign these?
Okay. Whenever there is an overpayment, we have to refund the money. Normally, these would occur, the tax collector would do these because they received more money than they were supposed to. In this instance, because we had a revaluation, a number of parcels, their first bill assessment was greater than their second assessment, so that the amount of money they paid on their first bill meant that they overpaid for the year, because the amount that was due on the second bill was nil or less.
These people all paid their second bill.
No, most of those people did not even get a second
So
bill.
their first bill was more than the total of the
Yes.
year.
Yes. There are,
That's why I should sign these.
yes, because they paid and we owe them the money. They don't owe it to us.
Okay.
Now, there are a couple in there where there were changes made. The largest one is because, and that's why I included a spreadsheet on the back of it to explain to you, because one of the buildings was on another parcel, and it was moved from one parcel to another parcel. And the only way to show that, because that individual was very upset because they thought their taxes went way up, but when you showed them between the two parcels, how they changed from 2013 to 2014, that individual was fine.
Okay. All right. Good enough.
The reason there's so much backup to it is because normally the tax collector can just go in and she can look at it and say, and just write me a note and say, nope, they're all paid, they don't owe any money. But I don't have the ability to do that, nor do I want the ability to do that. This is tax collector's job. But I was able to piece it together from our online, well, first I had our warrants, because that's what generated the credit, because we're the ones that, that prepare the warrant. So then I had to check and make sure, well, why are they showing a credit? And then I had to go online using the tax kiosk and scroll through that and make sure that they didn't owe any taxes on any other parcels. So it was rather time-consuming, but
Why didn't you get
confident
that
in my-
information from the tax collector? Because why?
She said no, because it was due to an assessment change, not because somebody paid too much money. Because
Okay,
you'll
then.
see from time to time in your accounts payable, like there's one right in there on top of that set that was just, had been overpaid. I'm sorry that, well, you do need to sign the disposition of abatement form. Does that answer your question?
It does.
Okay. First things first, Tilton School meeting, Beth has a meeting at 9:30, but Fred is available. The board had originally said 10:30 or 11.
What day is that on?
April 15th, January January, that's the third time I've done that today, January 15th. It's a
Yep.
Thursday when Lauren's here. So did you want to go ahead and meet with Fred first, or do you want to meet later, so when Beth is there?
But it's fine, he's the director of facilities.
Yep.
Yeah, he's the one that can show you.
He knows more than
I'd
nitty-gritty than
prefer that.
anybody.
I'd prefer that anyway.
Okay, but at some point, Beth and Lauren need to sit down and talk, and the board should be there when they're talking.
So, what, at 10:30?
10:30. Okay, just wanted to
On
confirm
what
that.
day, Joyce?
The 15th.
The 15th, it's a Thursday. Cannon Bridge, the Northfield Board can meet next Tuesday, January 6th. I looked, there is no planning board meeting that night.
Why, we always go to them, and they never come to us on our days.
Oh, it's only because Kevin Waldron is not available after Wednesday. He goes out of town. He's a 3-member board.
Did you tell them we had a meeting on the 29th, that they could come?
On Monday? I did, and he said that Kevin's not available on Monday. Really, Tuesday's the only night he can meet. He said he had also, that Glenn had been told by Wayne, saying that most likely the meeting wouldn't be until after the first of the year.
Yep.
And I said, oh, that's good, because my board's meeting Monday, both this Monday and next Monday, because of the holidays. So is Tuesday okay?
I have it open. I'm not going to go over there alone, though.
I'll go.
Thought the 15th was a Thursday.
The 6th we're talking about.
January 6th.
Oh,
Tuesday night.
Tuesday, January 6th.
I'm sorry. We're
It's
on
the-
to Northfield. Yes, that's fine.
What time?
I believe 5 o'clock, but I will confirm that.
And the date again, Joyce?
Well,
The 6th.
January
The
6th.
Tuesday, the 6th.
It's getting so that every night is a meeting.
refresh me the purpose of the meeting.
Cannon Bridge.
To review the bid results,
Okay, we've already reviewed them. Well, I have.
right, and then to talk with Northfield to decide who it should be awarded to.
So couldn't we decide that without going to Northfield? Is that my wishes?
It's up to you. I thought,
Do we have them?
well, we've had them for quite a while. We've had them since October.
There's only two.
Okay.
They're both.
Can we just make our recommendation?
Sure, if you want to do that.
Does the board meet before January 6th over there?
They're meeting this Tuesday. And they're probably meeting next Tuesday.
Let's send a recommendation over. And if we don't agree, January 6th, we'll discuss it. How's that? That okay?
All right, everybody read them.
Yeah, I'm willing to go over and talk to him,
Everybody
but
read them, we'll look at them, talk about it Monday.
I think it's going to be a no-brainer kind of thing, Joe. All right?
It was Enpro. RP
R.P. Williams, out of Plymouth,
and Evrock.
out of Bow.
Those were the only two that responded.
Both quite capable.
Which is the cheapest?
RP.
Well, you gotta look at them though.
Well,
It isn't, you know, for me, it isn't who's the cheapest. You have to look at them and see where the differences are. Some of the things are pretty standard, but it's interesting to see where the differences are, and it kind of makes you wonder a little bit.
Well, Glenn had provided that spreadsheet showing on each of the items what the two bids proposed.
That's why I said it's interesting to see where the differences are.
Okay, the,
You might be able to get into a little bidding war with it too.
Capital Regional Development Council grant. Last week when I had the November minutes, I only had 6 pages of them. I didn't have the complete set, so it wasn't until the next day when I got the full set, and I read them, and I saw that at the end of the meeting, we didn't actually make the motion to accept the money. And we were approved, and I'm ready to submit some bills for payment. So
So the motion needs to be,
to accept it's a $42,000 grant.
so make a motion to accept the $42,000 grant from the CDBG.
Second?
No.
No,
CRDC.
Can we
CRDC.
write that out, please, in the minutes?
Mm-hmm.
So people know what that is?
Yep.
I still second it.
All those in favor?
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. That was one little piece that I needed when I sent all the items. There's a supplemental warrant for Mill Hill Housing in the to be signed. And Lauren had given an explanation why this is always done after the assessments are done. So did you sign the warrant?
I did.
Okay. And there should be a yield tax warrant in there to be signed?
Yep.
Saw that?
Why'd that take so long to come around?
The yield tax?
I didn't look at it, I just saw him over here and what other people said about it. But it sounded like it.
Wasn't it done?
Took a while, it got
couple of- When was the yield tax done for 7 points? I mean, when was the cutting done?
The report of cut just came in.
Yes, but when was the cut actually made?
When was it, they have until May 1st to file the report of cut
Okay, but
for that tax year.
When was the actual cut done? That was a while ago, long time ago,
Oh, yeah.
like last year.
Would have been, well, the tax year is from April 1st of 14 to March 31st of 15.
okay. So it was done this spring, right?
Yeah. Now it's just coming out. Okay.
Okay. And then you talked about the cemetery. I have a change order number 6.
For what?
For Ernie's.
For
what, though?
Enpro?
Actually, this one is for the CRDC grant of $39,000. The grant is for $42,000, but our amount is only
What
$39,000.
do they want us to pay out of this money?
Out of the 39, nothing, we already paid that out of contract number 5. Enpro was contract number 5, and the only thing that was in addition to that, he hasn't paid the full amount yet, is they have a change order of $4,000 for when they had to remove the root ball.
$4,000 to remove a root ball?
Well,
I was waiting for it to add to that.
Well, let me get it's in the...
Seriously?
Just wait,
That'll be more than just a root ball.
yeah.
Tree.
Or I'm gonna tell them to put it back.
It's attached to your invoice. Maybe, here we go. Be easier to find it in here. The original contract with Empro was like for 35 something. Hold on.
Could only Enpro take the root ball out?
No. Because that root ball was beyond the area of contamination.
Was it?
That's what I'm asking.
Yes, it was.
Didn't,
$4,000?
No, it was on our site.
But it was beyond the area of contamination.
in
No,
the
the whole
marker?
site is considered a contaminated site. That's why,
What Gary said.
that's why,
That's the way he's going to leave it, because they're not going to remove those soils. But they didn't find contamination on the whole site, because they didn't test the whole site.
Right.
right.
Nevertheless, let's hear about the $4,500 root ball.
Hold on. I'll get there. Okay, this is back on December 9th. Joyce, I've been going back and forth with Enpro regarding the Ernie's project. They had originally requested a change order for additional work caused by the property line being in the wrong place. Based on the measurements you provided, the property, that's the day that Al and I went out? and took pictures and measured. The property line on our plans was correct, so that additional work was not justified for additional payment. The only change that I feel is valid was the removal of the oak tree in the area of the proposed trail. The root ball had to be removed and the area regraded in order to match the trail. That work was requested of them after they did their work in that area. They also said that part of the loam pile was on the Ernie's property, which needed to be removed. This was a small amount of work. They are requesting $4,000 for this work. The attached shows the breakdown of their costs. We will not mark this up, and it can come out of the contingency line item that we have through the CRDC subgrant. I'm not sure if you would need to get approval from the Board of Selectmen or if we should discuss this at the meeting in early January. And the board was made aware of the survey, additional survey work. That was $2,000. And then both Selectmen Dawson and Chuck Mitchell were present at the site when the decision was made to move the tree. So the board was aware that that was extra work, but...
To remove the tree.
Had to remove it.
But this discussion on the site is the tree was removed because of the trail, the way the trail was coming in, and I thought there was conversation there about WRTA paying for part of that.
No, I don't believe so.
So the town has to pay to remove a tree for the
Because the
WRTA?
The
grant pays for it.
grant pays for it.
And
That's
tied in with the
NPRO's.
trail?
No, the grant is the town's grant to develop the Ernie site.
The tree was on the Ernie site, correct?
There are a number of trees there, and they wanted to leave the oak tree.
I remember
Once
that
they got
tree.
in
I
there,
love oak
and they
trees.
decided to take that down.
So the oak tree had to come down after the fact.
Because the trail, they couldn't skew the trail to the side of it.
Now I lost my change order.
Why don't we have a conversation with them in January?
You can? Because this one is for the change order that's before you tonight is to spend the grant money, which the grant money is to make up for the shortfall that we had. That's why we've got the grant money.
But that's to pay for that root ball that was taken out.
But we don't,
No, this will all be the regular EPA. All of NPRO will be the regular EPA contract. There's some money left.
So
in
you're
that.
asking us to approve that change order,
Yes, which is for the,
the root ball. And I don't know, Joyce, why?
no, he has, under the contract that the board has approved in contract number 5, was $35,000 some odd dollars for NPRO.
Yeah,
Okay. There's money in, I don't know what his final bill was. All I know is that there was one change order, but we're still within the budget for NPRO. All of the NPRO work will be paid out of the EPA money. NPRO
Yeah.
is not done.
but I don't understand why we didn't approve the change order before the change order happened. You're asking us to approve the change order now, the work's been done.
No, I'm not asking the board to approve a change order for NPRO. I'm asking the board to approve the change order for the Ernie's contract to accept the $39,000, which is the CRDC grant.
Okay. And where does the change order number 6 come in?
That's the $39,000. That's paying
See,
for
you're
the...
confusing me here. You want me
Well,
to
no, let me...
make a motion to accept the $39,000 so that we can use it in the Ernie's property,
Second.
as part of the grant, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Which includes NPRO's work,
No,
okay?
it does not.
It does not.
One thing really
You
don't
already
have-
approved NPRO's work. You already approved...
But I'd never approved extra work to take down a tree.
No, the board never approved that. The board was made aware of that.
So who approved it?
The contract is with Crederi, with NPRO.
Because we
signed a change order back in change order number 5,
We gave them
to
the
pay, the authority
manage
to,
that project.
to enter into a contract with Enpro.
So they have the ability to make a decision to cut the tree down and spend that money.
To complete the project.
So, I
know, it would be- it'd be-
kind of upsets me a little bit, because when you get involved with EPA monies, and I know that there's certain criteria that you need to use, and certain contractors you need to do, but in this kind of case, we could be well under that budget of $4,000 removing a tree and a root ball. Well under 4 if we had gotten, A.J. Roy or Mr. Dunnigan, whatever. But they don't seem to use local people to do that.
I believe they did. I
Not
believe
for
there were-
$4,000.
Well, they had to be certified to work on that type of site.
Right.
And a lot of our locals aren't. We ran across that when we were trying to do Riverfront Park.
If that's the case, then I accept that. But if it's not the case, taking a tree down in a root ball, that's, we spent money that we could have put someplace else. So is it being managed properly? I don't know. It's not mine to.
Well, that's why I had asked if he could come and meet with the board, because it'd be much easier for him to explain it.
Okay.
I mean, I keep track of the money and how much money's being spent and what pots of money and what tasks it's assigned to.
Yep.
Because that's our responsibility, to make sure that we're paying for things that are
Right.
eligible expenses.
So this change order number 6 you're asking us to sign, is some of this work hasn't been done.
That is correct. The only part
So
that
why
has
are we
been done,
signing a change order for work that hasn't been done?
well, $2,000 of it has, because we're paying for the survey work,
Okay, so
'Cause
why
that
are we
was
signing a
extra.
change order for $39,000?
because that's all the work that's going to be done.
Going to be done?
Yes, this is
I'd
back,
rather pay for work after it's done.
what we do. But he has to pay the bill to Bernier for the 2,000.
Okay, well, then let's do a change order for 2,000, is my opinion.
Back when the board had
I'm not going to
approved,
give them $39,000 when they haven't done the work.
Well, we're
And Enpro
not,
has
but
been a
this-
little hinky. But that's what that says.
right, but that's what we've been doing all along, is they don't go and do work and enter into contracts and do work until the selectmen have authorized for them to do that.
They can do the work, but I don't want to pay them to do the work until it's done.
Okay. When the whole project is done?
No, in phases. It can be in phases.
Right. The only expense that would be paid out of change order 6, which I can do now, because we got the CRDC grant approved. Remember, we said we wouldn't spend any money until that grant was approved? Would be the $2,000 for him to pay TF Bernier for work that was done for the survey.
Okay, then why is it $39,000 on that change order?
Because that's the total amount of the grant. It's an authorization.
Yeah, I understand what change orders are, but I think this is being used a little differently than my norm. Usually a change order comes in because work has been performed.
No, you get approval to make the change, and then you perform the work. When we got ready to do the demolition work, that was change order number 1. That was to pay for all waste to remove the building. Change order number 2 was when we found the hydraulic oil, and they had to remove all that soil and do all the testing. That
It
was
reminded me of that one because they were forewarned several times about that, and I said, oh, no, that's not there. We did sonar.
change order number 5, that was the big one. That was for $86,000, and that was to pay Enpro and Belknap Landscaping. When he-
Belknap Landscaping isn't even going to do their work
I know,
this
but
spring?
that's authorized him to sign a contract. He couldn't sign a contract unless the board authorized to
So why
spend
do
that.
we give him money first?
We don't give him money first.
No, it's just,
It's all reimbursement,
all we do is give an authorization.
an authorization.
That's what she's saying, now
So,
I get it.
change order 5, you authorized $86,241.
This is being done way different than Riverfront Park was.
Yeah.
Way different. and I don't like it.
All right, I'll
So
make a
can we hold
motion
this,
that we...
I'm not going
Oh.
to sign this until Monday.
Is there a reason why
You
it
guys
says
can.
38,000 for the total of the change order here, and it says 39 up there?
Well, this one says total change order 39,000.
This is 38, and that total down there.
And if we haven't changed anything except a tree, why is it a change order? Change order usually comes if you're changing something in the contractual
It was
agreement.
$1,000. Is that a
Work
fee?
authorization orders
Right.
come in to authorize you to do work. That's part
Well,
the
of that
contract.
38,000, the grant is for 39. He is listing now, which the board already approved in change order 5, was $7,000 to do all the engineering and bidding and the contracting for when he put everything out to bid to Enpro and Belknap Landscaping. And then the Belknap bid, he had originally budgeted $43,000, and it came into $60,500. So that's when he said, ooh, we got to go find some other money. So part of that 38 is to pay the rest
We're in the wrong business.
of Belknap Landscaping, and then there's the oversight of Belknap Landscaping, and then there's all the final reporting that needs to be done. And he also moved, he was able to take, on the post-cleanup groundwater sampling, which was originally task number 6, he was able to move that expense over into the petroleum grant that we have. So now we've got 3 pots of money that are paying for things, plus our in-kind that we've been using.
And those two totals, no, if you run down the numbers, all the change orders, that's the same final number? Let's see what we, see,
Well, this is the updated, this is the revised budget and funding summary
okay.
to show, but you do point out something, he's got this totaling 39,000, so I have to find out what that other 1,000 is, because this is only 38.
I don't know where it came in. Is it
All
a
right,
fee?
can we make a decision on this on Monday?
On change order 6, yes.
Okay,
Yeah. And he'll know if it's 38 or 39?
Yep.
all right.
Okay. But the invoices that have been processed now are for, are all Enpro related and Crederi Engineering related on the EPA grant. The only one that we would be billing Capital Regional Development would be the 2,000. So we should hold out that invoice in your pile, and we won't pay that, because that comes under change order 6.
Who was that for?
Well, then I'll withdraw my
Crederi.
second.
Should be under Crederi.
It's all under Crederi. Because you'll see that
Be way at the
I wrote
bottom, I
on it that it's, when we bill for reimbursement, what gets billed to EPA and what gets billed to
No, it's
CRDC.
cold here. I thought we put heat up there.
Can you see the heater?
We don't have it very warm up here during the day, so probably no one turned it up.
It's freezing back here.
Yeah, well, Dennis said he would get his guys up here tomorrow to move
Oh, I
the
see
stuff
that.
away. But
Where are you gonna put it? That's all stuff from the Grange.
I think he's just going to move it away from the radiator.
As long
I
as
saw all the
it's,
Grange stuff went downstairs.
There's no more room downstairs. And then last Thursday, when the board met, because when the meeting was starting at 3:30, it was cold up here, so I turned the thermostat up. But then we didn't turn it down when we left.
It was pretty hot this morning.
Yeah, because but Joanna was in on Friday.
I bet she was
Because
nice and toasty
Because I
warm.
met
said
here
it
on
was-
Friday.
She said it was very hot on Friday.
Really?
Okay, so she didn't turn it down?
She did, she was telling me.
Yeah.
that It was Friday, that was the email I sent out.
do you have a timer on that? Timer thermostat?
Doubt it.
Well, maybe that might be something that would be good to put on there so that at every night at a certain time.
Certain time it shuts off.
No, I could tell you why. The problem is the way the zones are set up. Heather's office is dependent on the heat up here for her heat in her office. So we keep it below 70 because we're both cold people. I mean, we do. Sometimes in the winter, I've opened the window. It's too hot for me. But
I stop wearing a hat.
Heather is freezing in her office, so we have to turn the heat up to here. Sometimes we have to turn it up to like 73, 74 degrees. And then I usually open a window.
Wouldn't it be better to just get her a little electric heater?
No, we
What I-
went through
What I
that.
was thinking is, if you have a programmable thermostat, you can change it up and down during the day, but at, let's say, 10 o'clock every night, it's going to go down to 62 degrees in here or whatever.
And then up at a certain,
And then in the morning, it will go up to a certain amount. You know, at 7 o'clock, it goes up to,
64.
and Thursday nights we can be
like
warm.
my house here. And then, you know, if somebody comes in, it's a little chilly, they can
So
raise
I'm
it up.
actually chilly. I was going to bring a jacket, and I said, no, there's heat up
No,
there
no, I
now.
can feel it. No.
There's heat up there now.
I would-
I don't think so.
No, what I'll do is on Thursdays, or whenever, next Monday when the board meets, I'll come up at 3:30, maybe 3, turn it up a couple degrees, and
I
then just
turned it
make
up 2
sure,
degrees before I left.
and then just make sure that before I leave, I turn it down. I can be responsible for that.
But I would-
And it will help when all that stuff is moved.
Yeah.
The only other thing I have is you talked about the parking complaint, the assessing contract on what you wanted to do with that. Now, there was discussion, I know Joe had asked about doing month to month, which is fine, but what amount do you want to do it month to month?
I haven't looked at that, to be honest.
But we have to have a contract signed.
Next
so-
week.
Yeah, by next week.
No, by the 1st, so we could sign it Monday.
Right.
Well, that
Next
would be
week.
next week.
But the comment was we had to have the contract signed.
My vote is to go with Avatar, so,
I'm good with Avatar.
for a year,
Okay.
and then we could look at it.
Gets us more time than just a week,
Right.
you know?
Is Al going to be here next?
Yeah.
He will be next Monday? Okay. We'll do that then.
He's on vacation this week.
What I would like to suggest to Lauren, because we don't know if the town meeting is going to approve Dari's working the extra hours. And the contract, the 2 contracts are based upon whether or not he's going to be able to do that. So if we could do, put something on there to sign the one that's for the 23,000 something, and that pending approval at town meeting, if we get the extra hours, then it reverts to the new monthly fee, the lower monthly fee.
I'm good.
I mean, she has to have something signed at an amount.
Yep.
And that covers all the bases
So
on
that
I'm
would
okay with that.
cover it all. Okay. I'll see if she'll do that. So anything
So
else?
Monday we'll make a decision, or you want to make a decision now for a year and,
I quite frankly haven't looked at it. I'd rather do it Monday if we could. I'll look
Let's
at
do
it.
it on Monday.
Monday, and then
Okay.
Al
And Al
will
will
be
be
here.
here.
all right, so
Won't be here?
Avatar,
Will.
Oh, okay.
Monday is Avatar and change order.
Change order 6.
All right,
And that's all I had. Do you have anything?
all you have?
Merry Christmas, Joyce. That's what I have.
No, Chief, do you have anything for us? You don't?
I have a question for the chief.
The excitement at Walmart?
That's my question. Chief, let's just say I shot myself in the leg at Walmart. I had a carry permit. I'm totally good to go there. But I shot myself. Now, apparently, I don't know what the criteria is for carry permits anymore, but if I were to shoot myself, do I have to be
John, you need to sign
recertified,
these,
get
I
a new
think.
carry permit, go to a class,
It just came from him.
anything, or do I just get to carry my gun again?
Carry it again.
That seems silly to me somehow, but that's just me. Okay, that was my question. Duh, so I could shoot myself and still be totally entitled without any education or anything else. These people are walking around with guns
Loaded guns.
Am
in
I
Walmart,
understanding-
loaded guns.
Recklessness?
But am I under the understanding that this person is a law enforcement officer?
No,
It wasn't.
the,
Then an urban legend he was the sheriff?
works, I believe he works in the prison system.
Well, that's a corrections officer. It's not quite the same as law enforcement, but to me,
How rumors fly.
Wouldn't be the same academy or,
But still, it's like a hunter that, discharges his gun recklessly. I thought there was a charge attached to that.
if we can prove the element that he somehow endangered the public.
he shot himself in the parking lot at Walmart,
Yeah,
okay? Anybody could have been hit in the crossfire from that. Anybody. He was carrying a loaded gun in Walmart with the safety off.
well, that he can do, because the
With the
handgun,
safety off.
they don't have like a safety like you'd see on a rifle safety. So he had a permit to carry, you can lawfully carry it concealed anywhere and loaded.
Oh, was it concealed?
With one in the chamber.
Like these,
He either had to pull the trigger, cock it or whatever, if it's a revolver, or he had one in the chamber.
yeah, it was
Sounds like it was in the chamber.
a semi-automatic handgun, so it has an internal safety. So someone had to, or something had to catch the trigger.
Like his finger, maybe?
All right, let's move on.
Did he have a holster?
It was in a holster.
Cheap holster, or?
Yeah, I guess all of that,
I would think that you'd have a good holster that protects it so you see.
God, I want to say something so bad, but I'll just shut up.
Yeah, I got one in the seat.
So at this time, I'd like to wish all of the residents and employees and staff a very Merry Christmas, prosperous
Second.
New Year. Do we have any more business to come before us in the public?
Why, we have a non-public again?
No.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Selectmen's reports? It's on the agenda.
I know, but that's what I'm asking. Do we have anything in?
No, not me.
Before us? No.
Nope,
Okay.
I can-
Then I would like to make a motion that we adjourn the meeting at 6:43.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye. Get the
And
time.
to Scott Davis, who is probably the only guy watching this,
Merry
Merry
Christmas,
Christmas,
Scott.
buddy.
So Pat, or who's ever interested, I just wanted to
There's
point this
probably
out.
at
This
least
wasn't in
one
your
other
book when
guy, but
as I was finishing it up.
Merry Christmas, Scott.
I haven't looked at payroll